Good morning, dreamers. Yes, this is the mug as big as my head because I need a little extra today. It's actually the Friends Central Perk logo from the 90s show Friends, and that's been all the rage um, these days because, yeah, they had their reunion show this week and they've been all over social media and television, and it was interesting to learn their story and to learn how they were cast. I think that was the most interesting part of the reunion for me is how they were cast, um, and it got my mind going as my mind does. In that sometimes people are brought into our lives, people we wouldn't normally run into, people we wouldn't normally hang out with, people we would just situations occur where the creator says, I'm going to allow this person to bump into this person. And the who we have been in contact with is some people come into our lives for a season, and that was part of the reunion special, was describing why the show was done, because the characters were done. They were spreading their wings and going opposite ways, and the premise of the show was finished. And that's how things go when there's a show in high school, all those story things. And so I look past back at my story, and I was reminiscing part of that story with a friend this morning on the phone, and there's a lot of pain in the past chapters of my story, but so much good and so much beauty has come from it. And they've been the foundation and the bedrock for where I am today. My peaceful, spirit filled life. Just the two wonderful children down the hall that I can parent today's child with the lessons I learned from my yesterday. And I may pray for their future, and I may dream for them while they learn how to create a dream for themselves. But it's not up to me to even, I guide my children, train up a child in the way they should go. They're bent to something, right? The science kids are bent to science, and the artsy kids are bent to art. And we need to train up our child that in the way God has created you, He will connect with you, right? And you've been created for greatness. But don't look at someone else's life. Like, my kids are very close with their cousins, and sometimes they're just like, but I don't do math the same way Micah, the same way Philip, the same way Jared. Who cares? They've been created in such a way, and their parents are training them up in that way. But you've been created for hospitality and for so many other things, words and stories, and I don't know how many TV shows Jimmy's writing at the moment. And then there's the Broadway play that he wants to write about 2020 and COVID and all of that. And then there's the novels that he's like, all these little bits is like so reminiscent of someone that we all know and love, starting so many different books and never publishing them. But anyway, right? And then you get a report card in the mail from Hannah, about Hannah, and it's just like, kid, you're amazing. You're doing such a great job. And so I train them in the way they should go. And there's going to be bumps along the way. But ultimately, I cannot change who they are intrinsically created to be. And if I try, it ain't going to go well. Nope, it won't. Because they're going to come into connection with their friends and with their life. And they're going to have people cast in their life that will create their now into who they become in the future. And it's just such a, I liked the Friends reunion show because it was a reminisce. So take some time today to reminisce, to say thank you to God for creating you in this era for showing you and enlightening you, enlightening your mind to what he wants for you. Because the only one that can live your life is you. And he thinks you're special. I do too. I agree with him. I think you're pretty awesome. Yeah, he's right. There's another book called The Shack, and it was a bedtime story for the author for his children that just grew and grew and grew and grew over time, and then he published it, and people looked at it like it was some theological text, and he's like, it was fiction and it was a bedtime story. But anyway, there's a character in it who is representation of Abba God, right? And the character says, oh, Mac, I'm especially fond of you. And I love that phrase because that is how God looks at you. And he's especially fond of you. And he's so fond of your story. And he's willing to redeem all parts of your story. So my friend, take some time today as you're in the garden, as you're mowing the lawn, as you're watering the plants, as you're walking the trail, as you're cleaning your dishes, as you're baking your cookies, whatever the day looks like, take some time to reminisce. And remember the parts of your story. And the parts that trigger you into pain and sorrow, sit with them if you have to. Sit with them if you have to. Don't forget, emotions are just messengers. They don't control you. They're just telling you a little bit more about yourself than you already realized. But look at your past and reminisce it. And realize just how far you've come. Don't focus so much on how you're failing today, if you are. Don't be negative today. Be consciously positive towards yourself. Only positive self-talk today, okay? Promise? Because you're my friend. And I am especially fond of you. Have a great day and thank God for the chapters in your story. Thank him for taking you through the tough times so that you can live today in line with him and the story he has for you. And remember, whatever you're going through today, even if it's the toughest day of your life, whatever you're going through today is building the next part of the foundation for the rest of your life. So take some time reminiscing and being grateful and saying thank you. I'm so glad for you. And I'm thankful you're here. You're pretty awesome. Have some sweet dreams. Bye.